Oh, that was weird. Okay. Sorry about that. Wi-Fi just dipped on my computer. But I think we're back. But yes, talking about Jake LaRavia, who just signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. 2-year deal, $12 million, so about $6 million per season, roughly. We'll see what the official numbers look like. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. So, don't know what happened there. But yeah, Jake LaRavia is a Laker. Going to be coming at you for, like I said, $12 million a season. We'll see what this guy can bring to the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said, it's mostly just like a bench guy, a guy that can shoot a little bit. He's got a bit of shooting touch, shot about 38% from the field. So, this is an interesting one. But I wonder what he is going to be able to bring to the team. They said he had a nice little end to the season. I'm going to be completely honest here. I didn't know too much. I don't know too much about LaRavia and his game, mostly because he's been an end of the bench guy for Memphis and the Sacramento Kings, those two teams. So LaRavia becoming a Laker, I think could be a solid get. It's not a really expensive number, so that's what I'm fine with here. And we can probably work around. So we'll see what type of player that, or we'll see what type of player that he becomes with the Los Angeles Lakers, and see what type of player he becomes for JJ Redick and this squad. And it's a fine move. Like I'm not really mad at it. Not really, I guess, too happy about it. It's not like it's a bad thing to do. But yes, we are back up, guys. Sorry about the disconnect earlier, if you guys were here with me earlier. But yeah, Jake LaRavia just signed with us, and we're gonna get a couple of more information about him. But yes, good size, good shooter, has some handles. Not a ton in the way of stats, but he has been a guy that has been around the league a couple of seasons now. So he's growing as a player, and there's still probably some room to scratch left on the surface. So this could be one of those things with the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll see what the context of this deal looks like, because the past couple of seasons, the Lakers have been giving guys like this a player option in the second year. So let's see if it is a what you call it, a player option or a team option for the second year. But yes, so looks like I'm getting more details about this. 2 years, $12 million for Jake, would slightly be above the taxpayer portion of the 2 years, 11.7 tax or mid-level exception. This will officially hard cap the Lakers at 190.5 in the first apron. It's a biannual 2 years, 10.5 million, which also hard caps them as well. So this is the first move that the Lakers made. We'll see what else the Lakers do here, but it's more of just to shore up some of that wing position. Like it's going to be a fully guaranteed deal according to Shams Charania. So this was pretty good negotiating for the agent, who is the same as Austin Reaves. So good on them. Stretch 4, not a ton. Okay. Yeah, stretch 4, a guy that's been in the league for about 4 seasons, so it's going to be his 4th season here. See if there's any more moves here. But yes, it's not the full mid-level exception. The Lakers still have parts of that to get a player. Hopefully it is for that center player. Hopefully, probably DeAndre Ayton is going to be the name. That's been the name we've talked about a ton here on this channel. And just taking a look at his stats just for his career, DeAndre Ayton, solid 16 and 10 rebounds, 10.5 rebounds per game, and about 1 blocks per game. Shot about 59% from 2, which is very good. Only 23% from the 3. He doesn't take a ton of those, but he sort of take more the past couple of seasons in Portland. that's mostly due to just like what they've got on their squad. So that is another name that I'm kind of looking for to become a Laker, hopefully, just because with the Lakers, especially where they're at, if they aren't going to be able to trade for that top level center that they need, especially at a reasonable number, and then also not giving up too much assets, because you want to try to build this team out. Not only the Lakers need a center, but they need a point of attack defender. They need some more athletic wings if they can have that as well. So they need more than one thing. So it's important not to spend all your assets on just one thing, especially if it's just in the trade market. So Lakers doing their due diligence, it seems like, signing Laravia. We'll see who else they pick up. Like I said, that's weird. Okay. See if Shamshrani had any more information on that. So yeah, apparently people can say it's like, oh, Laravia can do anything from the wing. He just had injury histories. This is why he hasn't played too many games, and then also he hasn't been a guy that's shown out too much. Like I said, he hasn't gotten more than 20 minutes per game in his career, so not too much to go off of. But Jake Laravia is a Laker. We'll continue to bring up those news and updates as they come by for the next, probably, I say hours or so. I'll probably go to like 4:30, maybe 5. We shall see what else news pops up. Like I said, guys, I'm going to be checking in different reports. So I'm going to be looking on my phone, looking on my laptop, looking left, right, and center to see what new deals have popped up. But yeah, let us know, guys, if you have any questions here in the comments. Talked about a couple names already on stream. Talked about the centers that we're looking for. Talked about maybe a possible guard, De'Anthony Melton. I think that's a name to be on the lookout for. But with Laravia signing for the EAE, maybe they can get Melton on a veteran minimum. Hopefully, I think that'd be good to get a De'Anthony Melton, a point of attack defender at the veteran minimum. Those numbers are very solid, especially before the ACL injury. Yes, he's going to be coming back from a major injury, but he has had some time. He's been out since November 20th. So hopefully that's enough time for him at the beginning of the season in October to be ready to go for the Los Angeles Lakers. But that's if the Lakers are choosing to go that route. There has been reports from Dan Wilkie of The Athletic talking about how De'Anthony Melton could be on his way to the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, if you're just joining us, Drake Laravia has signed a 2-year deal for $12 million. It is fully guaranteed, and it's the same agents as it is the same agents as Austin Reaves. Okay. Got some reports to read about Jake Laravia because like I don't know too much about his game. He hasn't played too much in the NBA, and he's been here for a couple of different teams. So he's played with the Grizzlies, he's played for the Sacramento Kings. So a couple of different names there. Keep things going here. Like I said, probably till like 4:30, maybe 5-ish. See if any more news breaks here. Especially with the Los Angeles Lakers, could be the first ones to bring that we'll be the first ones to bring that to you here. Oh, another name that was that could have been for the Los Angeles Lakers was Day'Ron Sharpe, who got signed for the same contract the Laravia did, but by the Brooklyn Nets. The Lakers did not have a chance for a Day'Ron Sharpe, who is a very solid player, I think. Very, very solid player. But we'll see if the Lakers are able to make a move and get a guy of his services. But yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions. Like I said, if you guys are just coming in, Jake Laravia has signed with us. According to Chris Haynes, He's saying DeAndre Ayton is a strong possibility for the Lakers, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. Like, DeAndre Ayton doesn't clear waivers until Wednesday. He said, Adam, if you look up Jake LaRavia, who we just picked up, he is basically average at everything. Yeah, that is the gist that I'm getting from, especially from some of my guys here that I follow on Twitter, my basketball junkies. So that's what they're saying about LaRavia. Like, there's nothing exceptional that he does, but like he isn't poor at anything. So it's like a Danny Advia type. Not as good as Danny Advia, but of that ilk. And we'll see if like his player development is something, if he can grow as a player and become a better player. But as of this point right now, there's not too much to go off of. But I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's like great either, because it's just like he's more of like in that prove us and show us what he can do mode. And we'll see what Redick can bring out of him, if Redick can improve on LaRavia as a player, and see if he can defend as well, because that is going to be another thing for us. Like, if he's going to get playing time on the floor, he's going to need to be able to defend his position, and maybe even a couple other positions if he can. But he is the name so far that has been added to the Lakers. We did lose Dorian Finney-Smith. If you're just joining us, like I said, Dorian Finney-Smith is heading to the Houston Rockets for a 4-year, $53 million deal. And a couple of reasons why he went there. The biggest reason is probably the years for the Lakers. The Lakers did not want to have long-term money besides Luka Doncic. And they do have Jared Vanderbilt signed for a bit of a long-term contract, but it's only about like $12 million. And with Dorian Finney-Smith, he is 32 going on 33. So paying an older player that type of money for 4 years, that can be kind of risky. So I can see why the Lakers kind of didn't want to pay a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith that number. He is going to get paid less than he would have gotten if he picked up his player option, but he's getting more over time with the number of years that the Lakers were not willing to give him. But the Houston Rockets were, and the Houston Rockets are starting to look like a real contender here with the type of players that they have been putting together. Couple of things. Got another new deal. We got Trey Jones going back to the Chicago Bulls. Who cares what the Bulls are doing? I do like Trey Jones, though. He's a solid point guard. He's not too good. Oh, Adam, you said you like losing. Oh, you said you liked losing Finney-Smith. You weren't a fan. Why is that? Was it because of its age, or were you? Because I think a lot of people were expecting him to be like that 3-and-D starter that he was in Dallas. And no offense to Dorian Finney-Smith, I think he's still an okay player, but like he's lost a step from like those Maverick days. Like, is that what you're thinking, Adam? Because like that's kind of where my thinking was with Dorian Finney-Smith. It's not the end of the world the Lakers lost him, but it's because they can replace him. But it is going to be a bit difficult to do that. They can do it via trade, but I don't know if they can do it in free agency. I wonder what this does for the other players on the roster too, signing LaRavia, if anybody else could be on their way out, because LaRavia, like about 6'8", 6'9". Like I said, he averaged just about 6.9 points for his career, 3.3 rebounds. So he's just one of those like all-around type players. Been a guy that's been okay for most of his career, but it's just been starting, and the injuries have been an issue as well. The most games that he has played was 66, and that was the 24-25 season, so this most recent season when he was both on Memphis and Sacramento. But we'll see what he adds to this team. We'll see. Like I said, I haven't watched too much of Jake LaRavia's game, so I can't tell you too much about it, but hopefully he does some good things for the Lakers. Oh, he wasn't, Adam, you said he wasn't really a scorer, rebounder, or a passer. Yes, you're right. Finney-Smith was a poor rebounder. He wasn't a good passer, but he wasn't looked on to pass because you have Austin Reaves, LeBron James, Luka Doncic to do that. And a scorer, yes, there were some times that he should have taken shots, but he didn't take shots. Brandon says Lakers should go after DeAndre Ayton. Yes, DeAndre Ayton has been a name that I've talked about a ton here on the stream, and then we've talked about here on this channel as well. But DeAndre Ayton, I have my shortcomings about him. Not talent or skill-wise, because talent or skill-wise, he's probably the best player out there, but as far as a person that could just the temperament and mentality that he plays with, it's not to the level of my liking for Lakers. He reminds me a lot of Andrew Bynum and not the good parts of Andrew Bynum. So the Lakers just having to deal with another type of player, and you have to like try to motivate a guy like DeAndre Ayton. So motivating DeAndre Ayton, and then on top of that, you have to have him be consistently on him, so like make sure that he's doing the things he needs to do, because this guy has the talent to average 20, 10, and 2 blocks per game, and he just hasn't done that so far in his career. He's about 16.4 and 10 rebounds per game, which is solid for a guy, and he's definitely is going to be the starter for Lakers were to sign him. But it's just he needs to have just more of that verb, more of that willing to fight, more of that I want to play basketball, and not just like basketball is a thing that I do. And that's why I'm down on DeAndre Ayton. But he is the best available player, and if Lakers were to sign him, I think it would be fine. If they traded for him, it probably wouldn't have been worse in my opinion, because of some of the things that he, some of the shortcomings. So like giving up, say like maybe a Dalton Knecht for DeAndre Ayton does not make any sense for the Lakers, because it's like you lose a good young developing young player for maybe a center who isn't all the way thinking there, maybe isn't all the way there with you. So we got another deal here. Looks like D'Angelo Russell, our old friend, has signed with the Dallas Mavericks for a 2-year, $13 million deal. Oh, wow. That seems like a pretty low number for D'Lo, but he is going to be a starter for that team, especially when Kyrie Irving is out. So D'Lo is heading to the Dallas Mavericks on a 2-year deal. They got a nice little team forming there. And then D'Lo signed for the tax player mid-level exception, about $5.6 million. Okay. Rather than Ayton, Adam says rather than Ayton, better than Garza. Oh, yes. Garza's like, I feel like Garza's not even a name the Lakers are really talking about. The names of the Lakers have been in the Lakers, the names have been in talks for free agency wise is at least Brook Lopez, Clint Capella, Luke Cornett has been a name that I haven't mentioned yet, but Luke Cornett is another guy. But these are all backups, and DeAndre Ayton is not a backup. I don't think he's a starting center. He's a starting level center. So if you're able to get in at a number like 10.5 million, I think that's fine. Cool. Looks like we're putting out a video on Jake LaRavia and more information about him. So Daily Meditation talks about, so Rui should be traded now. Rui is a likely candidate to be traded just because of his contract and where he is with the Los Angeles Lakers. But trade? Okay. No, this is big. This is very big. Okay, but this doesn't affect the Lakers. So we got a trade here to report. The Denver Nuggets are trading Michael Porter Jr. and a first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. So Denver is getting off of Michael Porter Jr.'s salary, but they're getting Cam Johnson back. So it's essentially the same player, but just maybe not as good, I think. And maybe you get a better care factor. But yeah, this is the first big shakeup, first big move, really, I think, of the day, with the exception of Dorian Finney-Smith going to the Rockets. You have Michael Porter Jr. being traded to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. And then we got another deal here. We got Ty Jerome. Okay, now we're seeing some deals coming up here. Ty Jerome has now signed for a 3-year deal for $28 million for the Memphis Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies get another guard. Ty Jerome gets to leave the East. Interesting trade, though, I see, with the Brooklyn Nets. They really, I think, wanted to get out of the Michael Porter Jr. contract. And that's a big reason why they made that deal. The moves are starting to fire off left and right here. Nuggets just made a trade. D'Lo going to the Mavs. Ty Jerome, if you care, is going to the Grizzlies. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Yeah, Denver's realizing that that second apron is no joke, so that's why I think Porter Jr. is gone. Uh. Okay, okay, okay. So let's recalibrate real quick. Who else is going to be on this moves? Who's going to be next? Who's going to be the next guy? So apparently, this is according to Dan Wokey that Jake LaRavia was the Lakers one of their top wings off the board, free agency board at least. So hoping we get some film here of LaRavia. Not too much there. But yeah, he was. This is according to Dan Wokey though that they were the top. That LaRavia was the top candidate for them if Finney Smith was to leave. So that's interesting to go with this guy. I really do wonder what they see in LaRavia because he's more of a mystery to me. Do you think the Lakers trade for Andrew Wiggins? Brian, that's a good question. He is a player that I think fits very well with the Los Angeles Lakers. And if you trade for Brewery, I think straight up you do it. But the thing is, the Heat, they would do the trade if they got Rui, Dalton, and a first-round pick. And that's when I think it gets a little too much. I don't think we should be giving up a first-round pick for a guy like Andrew Wiggins. Maybe even Dalton can Knecht for Andrew Wiggins. But Rui, I can totally see that happening because you're kind of switching sort of play styles because Andrew Wiggins is more of a 2-guard, 3-guard, where Hachimura is more of a 3-4 type of player. Adam, yes, that is an excellent move for them getting D'Angelo Russell because he's going to be the placeholder before what's his face returns. Yeah, before Kyrie Irving gets back. But yeah, that's crazy that the Denver Nuggets had to trade out a first-round pick to trade Michael Porter Jr. So to tell you how like contracts are viewed, it's crazy. So they kind of retool with the Cam Johnson, who's probably a better fit, low key. He's more of an easygoing guy. He's a guy that can like fit into what they're doing. Like Michael Porter Jr. was a guy that always wanted to average 20 to 25 points per game. Now he can do that with the Brooklyn Nets. Just him and Cam Johnson or him and Cam Thomas and like the 5 guards they drafted during the draft is just gonna be checking up shots. What moves do you think? What move do you want the Lakers to make? I mean, the obvious one is center. Brandon, they gotta pick up a center. They gotta find one here, whether it's through trade, whether it's through picking up a guy. In free agency, the best name is DeAndre Ayton. I've had my issues of him, but he is the best. He's the best name out there. There are some decent backups. I wouldn't mind Clint Capella, Brook Lopez as a backup. And then if you were to trade for a center, you can do that as well. But with Finney Smith leaving, I think your options kind of dwindle a little bit, and signing for Ayton makes more sense, and then trading for that point of attack defender would make more sense because you can probably get some value out there with Knecht and that first round pick that you have. And he said, why are we using these on picks? Like Dalton Knecht, that's why we don't. Oh, you want us to get rid of Dalton Knecht? I think Dalton Knecht is still growing. This is just my personal opinion. Dalton Knecht still has some room to grow as a player. He's already shown that he's a very good 3-level scorer, a guy that can score in the mid-range very well. He can shoot the 3 at a high clip, especially when he's hot, and he's a guy that can finish. He's a very athletic shooter, so he can dunk the basketball. That's not something that you see much in the archetype of shooters. It's just the defensive side of the ball that needs to catch up in. And it's not like he's not willing to learn in that side of the ball. That's why I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And hopefully he can make some strides, not only in Summer League, but then also for the Lakers in the regular season as well, into training camp and then also into the preseason. Brandon asks, is it possible for the Lakers to trade for Daniel Gafford? Very possible for them to trade for Daniel Gafford. I don't know if the Mavericks will do a trade with the Lakers, though, right at this current moment in time, but he does make a lot of sense. He sure does. He's played with Luka. He knows what to do with Luka Doncic. He's signed for a couple seasons, so you don't have to worry about his contract. And it's at a very team friendly number, about like $20 million, and the cap is going to be going up, so it's not going to be too bad on your cap holds. We got another deal. Looks like Kevin Porter Jr. is going back to the Bucks for a 2-year deal. Okay. Yeah, Gafford's still very possible the Lakers make a trade for him, but it's just, will the Mavericks, are they willing to make a deal with the Lakers again? Rob asked, Pelinka gonna wait until nobody left? Always Lakers screwed LeBron. Pelinka better leave. It's not even that. I don't think so, because the Lakers still have their guys. The big name we're kind of probably looking at is DeAndre Ayton. He's not going to clear waivers until Wednesday, so we might not see an official signing until Wednesday, but there could be talks about possibly a deal getting done beforehand. So, and the guys that have been pulled off the board, they've mostly been guards. Like Ty Jerome was signed by the Grizzlies. You had D'Angelo Russell going to the Mavs. You had Dorian Finney-Smith going to the Houston Rockets. And just like a couple other low-level moves. And obviously for the Lakers, you have Jake LaRavia heading to our squad. I think I should call him like a multi-purpose wing. Like that's the scouting report everyone's kind of feeling him on. Yeah, Jake LaRavia is like a multi-purpose wing. Let's see if he's able to add something to the Lakers. If not, he's on a very small contract the Lakers can trade out. So not mad at that signing there. Once again, welcome in for you guys who have joined the channel. Like I said, we are checking left, right, and center for all these deals. Oh, this is some interesting news from Bobby Marks. So it looks like LaRavia's contract comes out of the non-taxpayer MLE, so it's not the biannual, which I was expecting it was. So there's about $8.12 million or $8.25 million left in the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. There's also a 5.1 biannual still remaining for the Lakers. So that's two ways the Lakers can bring in guys still, after them losing Dorian Finney-Smith. Grab some water here. How you guys doing though? How are we feeling so far, the Lakers? Rob says Luke will be 35 by the time Pelinka gets a center. That's funny, but also at the same time, Pelinka won't last that long. If we're being completely honest, you got to remember there's a new ownership group, so it's only a matter of time before, if things aren't up to their liking, they'll make some moves. And they start with presidents of basketball operations, GMs, and coaches. Those are the names owners like to start with first before the players. So Rob Pelinka, obviously, I think he's got the summer to improve this roster. If we get out of the summer and it's not really improved too much, then we can start to have those conversations about Rob Pelinka maybe not staying full time. Couple more things. Oh, wow. Did not see this coming. Bruce Brown, a guy who I was thinking about for the Los Angeles Lakers, is heading back to the Denver Nuggets on a 1-year deal. So the West is now getting a little tougher, with Bruce Brown heading back to Denver. You know how well he played for that team and how much he did. Looks like Dennis Schroeder is also going to sign with the Sacramento Kings. That's another name that I thought could come back to the Lakers. So yeah, two names, point of attack, guard, defenders, who I had a short list for them to come to the Lakers, are now heading elsewhere. We have I just said his name. Wow, the German guy. Dennis Schroeder heading to the Sacramento Kings, and then you have Bruce Brown heading back to the Denver Nuggets. So Denver just got a bit stronger now with getting Cam Johnson, who's just like a more friendlier guy to just go along with your team, and then also you bring in Bruce Brown back, who was very vital to them in their championship run. So that really does help them a lot. Brandon says, I hope the Lakers make good moves to compete for a championship in the future. Yes, I hope so too. But so far, it's just been Jake LaRavia. And like I said, I don't know too much about him. And from what I've been hearing, he just seems like to be an all-purpose forward, which is good. But it's not something that the Lakers need a ton. So, another center just went off the market. This guy was on the short list for the Lakers, but I don't think he was too much connected to them. And that's Kevin Looney. Kevin Looney is signing with a 2-year deal with the New Orleans Pelicans at around $8 million, which is I think it's a very vital number to look at. $16 million for 2 seasons for Kevin Looney going to the Pelicans. By the way, after he spent over 10 years in Golden State. That is a long time for Kevin Looney. So another center goes off the market. There are still names, though, obviously out there. There's Clint Capella, Brook Lopez, DeAndre Ayton. Those are 3 names that the Lakers should be eyeing heavily. Obviously, the best of those names is DeAndre Ayton. That's the guy that makes the most sense, is the best skill player, and the guy that's probably going to have the most value there at that probably about like $8.2 million range. The Lakers have left of that mid-level exception since they signed Jake LaRavia. But yeah, now we got Loondog heading to the Pelicans, Bruce Brown to the Nuggets, Cam Johnson also to the Nuggets in a trade. So Rod asks a good question. Could they get Kai Jones? Yes, they could get Kai Jones, but my problem with Kai Jones is his temperament and mentality. He's had way too many issues on very porous teams for me to... Oh, we live, baby. That's how we get the information so quickly. We live. And I'm checking updates just constantly, so I'm like on my phone. I'm also on my laptop checking these updates constantly, seeing what we've got, seeing any more news. But Rod, they could go after Kai Jones, but I don't think they will. He's got too much of issues and temperament to play on the court. Brandon X, how do you feel about going after De'Anthony Melton? De'Anthony Melton, I've talked about here in this stream a bit. He's very solid, especially if you can get him at that veteran minimum number, because he just came off an ACL injury in November. He is expected to be back once basketball starts up back in October. So I think he's a good name. He's had some solid stats for the season before he got injured. About 10 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists per game, 1.2 steals per game. Shot 40% from the field, which is not great, but 37% from 3, which is pretty good. And he's a very good point of attack defender, can be a real irritant over there. Technically sound, can be a guy that can get through a lot of screens. Just very good on-ball defender there. So he is a person that definitely could be on his way to the Lakers, and I wouldn't mind, especially if he's at that veteran minimum. That's the important number. So like not signing him for like maybe that 5.1 biannual exception that they have, but maybe that veteran minimum, so you can get more bang for your buck and hopefully use that those mid-level exceptions on those bigger dudes like those centers or maybe even those point of attack defenders. But a couple of point of attack defenders have been scooped up off the market, and that is both Bruce Brown and Dennis Schroeder. And Loondog is going to the Pelicans. We'll see if anything else breaks here. I said I was going to stay on until 4:30, but I might stay on longer because things started to break frequently. But Cam Johnson now back in a winning situation with the Nuggets. The Nuggets have gotten better. All these teams are improving around the Lakers. So the Houston Rockets have gotten better. The Denver Nuggets have gotten better. Obviously, OKC is going to be there. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be there. The Clippers, if they're healthy, barring health, are going to be in and around that position. So a lot of teams are going to be vying for spots, and not to include the teams that are getting better. So like the San Antonio Spurs, who are improving. The Portland Trailblazers can be an irritant, especially on the defensive end. The Dallas Mavericks. So there's so many teams in the Western Conference that are at or near this competition level for the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Lakers need to improve what they got. So far, we've just got Jake LaRavia. Hopefully, we can get some of these guys to upgrade that bench. DeAnthony Melton, I like that name. DeAndre Ayton's been a name that I like. If you can get Clint Capella as a backup, I like that as well. We'll see if they make a trade here or there. They still have some assets to make some trade, and expiring contracts, which is big, especially if you're going for a bigger name player. It is going to be weird, though, seeing Kevin Looney in a different uniform, I will say, since he's not going to be with Golden State. And yeah, the Lakers are just reeling, because like I said, I made this point earlier, but the Lakers have to find a way to replace DFS, because he's gone, and now we have to find a way to replace it. They did that, it looks like, with Jake LaRavia, who signed for a 2-year, $12 million deal, and he took some of that taxpayer mid-level exception, so they don't have that full $14.1 million taxpayer mid-level exception. So they have about I think 8.2 left of that taxpayer mid-level exception, and they have a biannual exception, which is about $5.1 million. So these are the tools they can use to sign people, with the exception of the veteran minimum contracts, which they can give out just a ton of those. But those are the way the Lakers are going to upgrade their roster free agency wise. That's why we also got to look for trades as well. Trades, I think it's now more plausible to look at trades that now the Lakers trading for a center if they were able to get DeAndre Ayton, but maybe trading for that point of attack defender or that wing defender that they now desperately need, because Dorian Finney-Smith is now gone. LaRavia comes in, but I don't know if he brings that defensive intensity that like a guy like Finney-Smith brings. And if you look up and down the roster, not too many guys really have that defensive personnel, obviously with the exception of the guy who they just drafted, Duru, and then also even some Bronny James. Bronny James is still, I think, far away to being a rotation player, but he can still come up here in the summer league, but we'll see. But as far as for the Lakers, they got to figure out ways to improve, because teams around them, this has kind of been my talking point here these past couple of lives here, that the Lakers are in a hunt to really improve this roster, because teams around them are getting better left, right, and center. Free agent Luke Knecht is signed. This is another player, but now he's signing with the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, so this is another player who could have been on the Lakers list, is now headed to the San Antonio Spurs on a 4-year deal, $41 million. So these guys are getting some of these long deals over there in Texas. You get Finney Smith with a 4-year deal, and you get Luke Knecht with a 4-year deal. But I think Luke Knecht is on the younger side, so he is at an age that makes sense. I was about to say. So yeah, Luke Knecht is gone. 4 years, $41 million to the San Antonio Spurs. It's another option for the backup center, but still not those 3 main options that I've listed. DeAndre Ayton, Clint Capella, Brook Lopez. Those are names to be looking out for the Lakers. We'll see if something else pops up. Now Knecht is gone, and then also Kevin Looney. So those are 2 centers that the Lakers could have used. They're okay centers, mostly backups, but they're now gone off the market. What trade do you see the Lakers trying to make? Brandon, I think if they do end up signing DeAndre Ayton, which seems like a very plausible reality, they could trade for that wing or point of attack defender. There's a couple of names out there. From like cheaper names, you obviously got like a Marcus Smart, which wouldn't cost you a ton except if you're just like matching salary, or maybe a more expensive name than like a Herb Jones. Maybe checking on what the Pelicans are doing, what they want. Obviously, that's gonna take your first round pick and then Dalton Knecht and then possibly even some pick swaps as well too to make that work. So I think that's the goal. If the type of defender you're looking for, like a Herb Jones, either Herb Jones or Herb Jones type, that's the type of defender that you want on this roster because I think he slots perfectly in between Luka and Austin because you have a guy that can guard multiple different positions and can be switchable, so he can switch on to different things on certain possessions. So that is what you're looking for the Los Angeles Lakers in the point of attack defender because losing Dorian Finney-Smith, yes, he was a bit older. Yes, he didn't look super great in the playoffs, but also he knew his job and did a lot of good things for the Lakers and was a very just important defender, just important voice in the locker room. So yeah, losing out on Finney-Smith will help, I think, mostly from the defensive mentality standpoint because he was a vocal leader. He was a guy that was always talking, always yelling out coverages and doing things of that nature. But now he's going to be doing that for the Houston Rockets. Knecht, yes, I did see that. The 4 years, $41 million. I was like, oh wow, like man, good for him, man. Dude's gonna be a backup and get 4 years, $41 million. That's solid. Oh, and we've got a deal. Oh, it looks like Clint Capella is heading back to the Rockets. Okay, Clint Capella going back to the Rockets. So this is another name the Lakers had on their board for sure. But he's going back to the Rockets on a 3-year, $21 million deal. So that looks like it's about like what, $7 million a season, I believe. But that third year is interesting. Very interesting. So the Rockets are really trying to tool up and gear up for say this because now they have 3 centers with Şengün, Steven Adams, and Capella. And things of that nature. So 21.5 for 3 years goes for Capella. So yeah, about $7.1 million a season that Capella's getting paid for. Definitely within the Lakers price range, but maybe a little bit above, and then maybe the years is too much. That's maybe another reason why I'm thinking this happens. Yeah, 3 years fully guaranteed. Yeah, this is why he took it. This is why Clint Capella took this deal. He took a 3-year fully guaranteed deal from the Rockets. Then you have Knecht going to the Spurs. More centers off the board. So now it whittles down the list. So now you're down to Brook Lopez, DeAndre Ayton. And it's looking like you need to sign Ayton. And I really hate that I have to say that the Lakers need to sign DeAndre Ayton. Because from a mentality standpoint, it's not the skill-wise, it's not that I don't think he can be good enough. It's just he has not shown, I would say, the growing basketball world that he cares enough about basketball to get the Lakers to the level that they need to get to. So DeAndre Ayton is really looking like an option here. Really looking like an option, especially if, say, if Brook Lopez were to go elsewhere or something like that. But now, Clint Capella, yeah. So yeah, still Ayton and Lopez are available, but like those are the only real 2 centers on the center market because 3 centers in the past 10-ish or so minutes have all been signed from Kevon Looney, Luke Knecht, Clint Capella. All 3 of them gone. And they were all multi-year deals. So this could be another reason why the Lakers are being stalled because maybe the Lakers aren't willing to give up multi-years to some of these players because they want to keep that flexibility. So yeah, it's looking more and more that it could be DeAndre Ayton. Still could be Brook Lopez as well, too. Couple of names just to really hone in and be on the lookout for. Looks like we got a deal. with Karis LeVert, but this is going to the Detroit Pistons on a 2-year, $29 million deal. This seems to be a deal to replace Malik Beasley, because Malik Beasley might be in a bit of legal trouble. This is why you don't gamble, kids. But nothing has been confirmed yet, so I don't want to say anything that is not true. LeBron and Luka will help motivate him. They're gonna have to. They're gonna have to motivate a guy like DeAndre Ayton, because this is now looking like our only real option here at center. DeAndre Ayton. It is not my first choice, but he is the most skilled guy at that position now. And with the guys left out there in free agency, it's just Brook Lopez is the other dude. Is the only other dude. So the Rockets don't have enough in their mid-level exception to sign Clint Capella, so it looks like it's a sign and trade. That's what's happening. So yeah, it's a sign and trade from for the Rockets, but we'll probably get some more details about that announcement as well. So yeah, all these things happening here these past couple 10 minutes. Lakers still without a center. Hopefully they can find a way to get something done here, because these names are getting picked up fairly quickly. And some of you guys have been talking about it here in the comments and how, yo, Rob Pelinka got to step up, and he's like, yeah, a little bit now. Some of these names, especially some of these centers, going off the market, and unless you're going to trade for the center, which I don't think you can do. Oh man. Hopefully, but I think we'll stay up here until 5 o'clock. Yes, 5 o'clock. So this makes sense. So if Capella's, it's a sign and trade. So this is also probably another reason why the Lakers did not make this deal, because a sign and trade can hard cap you, and you don't want to do that with maybe a guy like Clint Capella. So another guy off the board. Houston Rockets, though, they're a really solid team now, really shaping up to be solid. Got solid depth at each position. Brandon, you put up another name. You said I don't see Al Horford as a realistic option. Mostly because that hasn't been talked about in Laker circles, and Al Horford is like kind of like in a similar situation like to LeBron James. Like, how much years does Al Horford really have left? Like, he is a solid player, but is he a guy that you can trust to be your starting center? Because that's what we're going for with Los Angeles Lakers. Because are we going to go into another year hoping that Jackson Hayes, who barely played in the the playoffs, be your starting center? No. Yeah, we'll keep it going here. Like I said, these moves are coming out left, right, and center. The Rockets look like a lot. The Rockets look a lot better. A few guys that I've talked about earlier. I talked about DeAnthony Melton. That could be a name to watch, but probably for the bet minimum. But the Lakers, they gotta make a move here for a center here. It's the center market is drying up fairly quickly. There's now only 3 real centers out there, and one of them is Al Horford, who's very old. And Ayton seems like the guy. Definitely seems the guy. Marshawn, you're definitely right. Timothy, Lakers are overrated. I bet you constantly think about the Lakers since you got us in your mentions. Yeah, Houston. Yeah, Houston really has done well for themselves, I think so. Marshawn, you're right. We cannot sign Ayton until Wednesday. However, though, this is the time where like deals get agreed to all the time. So a deal can be agreed upon, and then he can make his way and sign to the Lakers. Do you think Nickeil Alexander is a good fit? I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a great fit. I just don't think the Lakers will be able to get him because, especially now since they use some of that money for their taxpayer mid-level exception on Jake LaRavia. They only have $8.2 million left, so they can't afford for what he probably would want. The least that Nickeil Alexander would get is $14 million a season, and the Lakers can't even get to that number. We'll see what comes from this sign and trade. Because there could be remnants of players falling out here. Oh, another name that I haven't talked too much about, Larry Nance Jr. He's not like a center size, but he does center things. And he does things still very well for you. He's a very good role player. I wouldn't mind putting Bettman towards him if you had to sign another big guy. And he's a guy that can pass, shoot the three. So he can do a lot of different things. And he can rebound still. Still very athletic, still a lob threat, even though he's 32 years old. I think he's still a very solid player, and he can guard a couple different positions too. So Larry Nance Jr. could be another name. Timothy says Lakers are the 6 in odds to win a chip? That's because, Timothy, no one is going to bet. This is like a Vegas thing in general. So if you ever see the Lakers ever higher in like odds or something, it's because the Lakers are a more popular team. It's not necessarily what they have on the roster. It's just how Vegas sees them. Because if you're a person who's betting in Vegas, you probably don't know, like, I don't know, the Orlando Magic. Or even knew if the Pacers were good. And the Pacers were just in the finals, obviously. So those betting favorites are mostly just that. It's just favorites. It's who are the most well-known teams in the league. I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors were on that list, too, of teams to win a championship. We are in it, though. Right in the middle of free agency. So, names going left, right, and center. How many years have you been a Laker fan? What has been your reaction to Luka at the deadline last year? How long have I been a Laker fan? Probably my whole life. Earliest memories is a three-peat, but probably some of my favorite teams were like those 09, 2010 Lakers, Kobe Powell Lakers, guys like Lamar Odom, Trevor Ariza, heck, Metta World Peace is on the next year's iteration of the team, Jordan Farmar, Shannon Brown. Heck, even some of the deep bench guys like DJ Benga, Josh Powell. Those are some of my teams, like especially like growing up. Timothy, you can continue to say the Lakers still suck, but you'll continue to watch. Continue to watch us. Not clear yet. So this is interesting. This is a no wrinkle. This is from Kenneth Smith, who covers the NBA for the front office, and he says, not clear yet, but I believe the Rockets' incoming signings, Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella, will be part of a sign and trade deal. And that is true because the Rockets don't have too much salary cap, so one of that is true. It probably might be Capella, because I don't know if the Lakers would be able to do a sign and trade without getting hard capped. Yeah, Bruce Brown back in Denver. Denver also made a couple of moves. They made a trade. Mr. 81, yes, still no center. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, though, that we lost DFS. I don't think Mr. 81, just because they can replace Dorian Finney-Smith in the trade market. Dorian Finney-Smith was also aging. He was 32 years old, and they signed him for a 4-year deal, the Rockets did, so 4 years, that means going to his age 36 season. He's just coming off of surgery. He did do some good things for us, so he's going to be hard to replace, but like I do think you can. So, Kaido said, we got to waive somebody to get now. It's like, no, waiving wouldn't work, because if you were to waive somebody, you're still applied to the cap. So they'll still be have to be paying up for the person, and they'll still count against the salary cap. So like waiving somebody does not work to get Nah and open up some space. So yeah, there goes D'Lo to Dallas. Good for D'Lo getting in a winning situation. We'll see if it goes well. Damn, so we have no shot. Yeah, for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, yes. It is seeming very unlikely to get him. Sign and trade is very unlikely. And signing him outright, because I don't think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to sign for the $8.2 million. I think that's the most we have available to sign a player of that caliber. That seems more likely to end up in DeAndre Ayton's hands now at this point. And to be the Lakers, like, that's kind of has to be the goal here, especially to go back to Mr. 81's point. DeAndre Ayton kind of seems like the focus. Brook Lopez also could be another option for a backup big. But yeah, all the centers that the Lakers been talked about or in conversations about are gone. They're all gone. So guys like Luke Cornett, Luke Cornett. Will we still try to trade for Claxton? We still can. We still definitely can't trade for Nick Claxton. We're gonna have to give up Rui Hachimura to do so to get the money to match. But I do believe the Lakers, they can still trade for Nick Claxton. We'll see what the Nuggets. I mean, the Nets want to do. But I would love Nick Claxton. To me is probably the best center like available, just for skill wise, what he can do for you. He's very switchable. He can do a lot of different things defensively, which is very important for the Lakers, because if you're going to be the starting center for this version of the Laker team with a 40-year-old LeBron James, an Austin Reaves, and a Luka Doncic, you're going to need a center that runs around constantly on the defensive side of the ball, can grab rebounds, can block shots, can do a whole bunch of different things for you, and Claxton can do sort of that. He isn't a strong center. That's why, say, if you were to trade for him, you might have to sign maybe a Brook Lopez. But Nick Claxton, I do like him a lot. Yeah, we just need a big answer defense. What defenders can we get? Claxton is one of the names. We'll see about what other names kind of surface. Cheaper options I've talked about in the past is like Marcus Smart. Could be somebody to look at, but he probably wouldn't cost you Rui Hachimura. He can probably cost you Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber. Andrew Wiggins has been another name to look out for, but I do believe the Miami Heat want Dalton, Rui, and a first-round draft pick, and I don't think the Lakers want to give up the first-round draft pick and Dalton. So that is another way to get defense, getting Andrew Wiggins. But that's kind of the only viable options right now, unless the Lakers were to make another trade that I cannot foresee. But yeah, there's no new signings. If you're just joining us, guys, if you came in later in the stream, Jake LaRavia signed with the Lakers, so that is the move the Lakers made today. This is kind of to mitigate them losing Dorian Finney-Smith. He's a forward, 6'8" forward, kind of like a multi-purpose forward, can do a lot of different things. Doesn't really do anything at an exceptional level, but doesn't do anything at a bad level. Do you see Miles Turner as a trade candidate? Miles Turner is a free agent, actually, this season, and it is very likely that he re-signs with the Indiana Pacers, unless like they had a horrible falling out, and then he would go elsewhere. But then Miles Turner, like, he won't demand less than $20 million, and Lakers don't have even close to $20 million to get a guy like Miles Turner. So I doubt he would choose us. Oh no! Another center off the board. That means, so Brook Lopez is now heading to LA, but the LA Clippers So, okay. Okay. So, first day of free agency, and it is looking ever so clear that DeAndre Ayton will be a Laker. It is now their only option because Brook Lopez is gone. It is now seemingly their only real option that Brook Lopez is gone. Dylan, you're right. Well, also, what's up again, Dylan? I've seen you here before. Hey, Lakers better do something strange for a little piece, cause this ain't it. You're right. This ain't it. This generally isn't it. But yeah, Brook Lopez going to the Clippers, and they shore up their big man rotation with Zubac. Wow. Hmm. So a couple things now to watch for is DeAndre Ayton. That is a name to be looking for because that is the only real viable center left. Maybe with the exception of like Al Horford, but Al Horford is very old. And with Brook Lopez now gone, we'll see what comes from the sign and trade from Clint Capella. Let's see who's going out. See if the Lakers can maybe get in there, and then there might be a sign and trade for Dorian Finney-Smith. So there might be more information on that. So I'll be sticking around until we can get a couple more information about that. But whew, this is rough. So I have the same. So Rob Pelinka is not gonna be fired tonight. That's one thing. Rob Pelinka has till the summer to improve his roster. He can still make trades. It's not all doom and gloom. If they miss Aiden, then we can have a different conversation. John, what did you say? I feel better if we get Rui for Wiggins done. The only thing that's holding up, it's because Miami wants Dalton, Knecht, and a first round pick, and the Lakers don't want to give up both in that sort of deal. So I understand why the Lakers are stalling. Aiden, I hate Aiden so much as well. Yes, DeAndre Ayton, he's Andrew Bynum, but he's a worse mentality than Andrew Bynum, and I cannot tell you how much Andrew Bynum used to piss me off back in the day, and Ayton might be worse because this guy clearly should be a 20 and 10 guy, 2 blocks per game, but he really just underperforms. But taking a look at his stats here, because I have it up here, DeAndre Ayton, just for his career, he's averaged about 16.4 points per game and 10.5 rebounds per game and 1.6 assists to go along with a block per game. And a couple of things to note here. Yeah, those numbers are solid, but the number of games that he's played hasn't been up to my liking. He's only played a good amount of games twice in his career. That is the 2018-2019 season where he played 71 games, and then 2020-21 season where he played 69 games there. So that is DeAndre Ayton's stats and what it looks like for a guy like him. So that is the biggest name I think the Lakers are really can only go for, because now with Brook Lopez gone to the Clippers, again another Western Conference Finals team or Western Conference team getting better. So it's coming just ever more clear the Lakers need a big man, and they need a viable big man, if that, because all these teams around them now all have size. If you look at them from top to bottom in the Western Conference, let's just go through the list of teams. I'm gonna go through them. Phoenix now, they've got that young kid from Duke, and they've also got Mark Williams. You got Denver with Nikola Jokic over there, who's just a world of hurt for the Lakers. You got Dallas with Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Anthony Davis. You got Minnesota with Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. In the Clippers, you got Zubac and Brook Lopez. Oklahoma City, you got Hartenstein. You've got Chet Holmgren. in New Orleans, like you got Zion, which is like a load and a lot to deal with, and then in Portland you've got Klingon, you've got Robert Williams, you've got um that Chinese center that they picked up. Sacramento still has Sabonis. Utah still has Walker Kessler. San Antonio with Wembanyama, and now Luke Cornett's on that team. Houston Rockets, they've got Clint Capella. They've got Alfred Şengün. They've got Steven Adams. Memphis with Zach Edey and Jared Jackson Jr. and Brandon Clark. All of these teams in the Western Conference, from top to bottom, with the exception of the Warriors, and the Warriors play a whole different brand of basketball, all have viable big man. The Lakers need to find a way to get a viable big man, and the only name out there now is DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, because they're not going after Al Horford just because of his age, and there hasn't really been any reporting on that anyways. So Aiden, we might not get information to him until Wednesday, but that is where we're looking at right now, especially in the first day of free agency. Things didn't kick off initially, but then we started to get some deals rapid fire, and a lot of things going to different Western Conference teams, but not the Lakers. Cato says Ayton and Bol Bol. Bol Bol, I think he's kind of past his trial date. He was a fun little experiment at first, but I don't think he's a guy that they should be really going for or vying for. You're better off trading for a Nick Richards backup. On the real, Houston just made some serious noise, and Houston is one of the teams to beat in the West. Them along with OKC. We ain't got a big. They all got double digs. Yes, they do. This is turning into stop for the Lakers in general. Yes, this is not great. This is not ideal. Especially when every single team has size. Every single one. So we gotta be smart about this one. Los Angeles Lakers. There's really only two names out there left on the center market. I don't think any other real viable big that you can have. So I'm gonna take a look at who else is left really in free agency, because I don't think there is a ton of names out there. Now they're gonna make me look at all the center positions. So Steven Adams is gone. Ayton, like I said, has been available. You got Bismack Biyombo, you got Bol Bol, two underwhelming guys. Thomas Bryant, we've tried that and done that before. You got Luke Garza, not really much. You can bring back Jackson, you know what he does well, but you also know what he does bad. Like I said, Al Horford, he's not a name that you're really looking forward to. He's 39 years old, so that's not a guy. I've seen Kai Jones in the mentions, but he's too erratic, and he's a little undersized for me. DeAndre Jordan's too old. Christian Koloko was tendered, so there's a high possibility that he comes back to the Lakers, but he's still, I think, a year maybe away from being a real viable threat. Fournette just signed with the Spurs, not going back down to Alex Lynn route. Larry Nance Jr. is an okay, I think, veteran minimum option. You know what he does well. He's a little bit undersized, but he really plays hard, which I do appreciate. Plumlee, undersized, and he's 35. Really picking the bottom of the barrel here. Jericho Sims, very bouncy guy, but he is still, I think, a ways away from being a good contributor. He's more of the same with Jackson Hayes, just a little bit longer. And then Tristan Thompson, just obviously two holds. And then Miles Turner is out of their price range. So Chung, you're right. Chunkix, you are definitely right. We do need a center, and I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't know how it's gonna come from. You said we might have to pay the Kessler price. Jericho Sims, like he's more of the same to me of Jackson Hayes. Like if you sign Jericho Sims, then you're essentially saying that, like, oh, like him, like he's better than like Jackson Hayes, and I don't really think he's like better. They're like essentially the same player, and Jackson Hayes might be a little bit better. So we got all these deals going, and not a single center is heading our way. We're in trouble. I don't know if we're in trouble. We're in trouble if Ayton signs elsewhere, because that is really the last big domino. And Ayton, we might not hear something until Wednesday, because that's when he clears waivers. But we could hear that where he signs or where he intends to sign, because that's what usually happens to people, to guys on waivers. So I wouldn't get too mad unless if Ayton signs elsewhere. Then you're kind of like in that, you got to be in the trade market again to like look for trading for a center. Kessler might be too expensive. Maybe you do Nick Claxton. Maybe you do Jakob Poeltl. Maybe you do Robert Williams for a cheaper option. I don't know. That's becomes your market now because of all of these guys that have been signed. And not a single one center's going to the Lakers. But Jake LaRavia is headed to the Lakers. He was an all-purpose, like a multi-purpose forward, can do a lot of different things for you, but he is not great at any one thing, but he's not poor either. Robert Williams is garbage. He's just injury prone, I think. That's the thing. And that's why you can trade for him, because like you can give him Maxi Kleba and Shake Milton and say, like, here you go. We'll take Robert Williams. And like, if that's what it takes to get Robert Williams, I'm fine. Totally fine. Like, especially at this point where the Lakers kind of need bigger bodies. They need bigger bodies, especially with the rest of the West. The only team that they match up with is the Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Warriors are probably currently better than the Lakers because they've got Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy all kind of doing their thing. So Loondog, I was actually kind of surprising him going to the Pelicans. But the Pelicans did need a center, especially behind Massimi. Another center that I like. I don't think they would trade him, though. Him and Jalen Duren, that's another center that I would really like if the Lakers were able to trade for a guy. But those guys aren't going to be available because they're on rookie contracts and their teams like them. Unlike Mark Williams and the situation he had in Charlotte. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Huh. So yes, Dennis Schroeder officially, yeah, he's going to the Kings. I wonder how much he signed for. Also, a good thing to note about LaRavia, who the Lakers signed, he is 24 years old, so he is young. Lakers obviously likes to be going with that youth movement, going with that younger build. Also, would Austin Reaves get in trouble for tampering with the Jake LaRavia signing, or is that just me? Because he was chatting with him beforehand. I know they got the same agent, but that's funny that he ended up actually signing with the Lakers. No new news as of yet. But we talked about a couple different things. Oh, you forgot about Air and LaRavia? Yeah, same agent. And they work out together in the off season, so those two guys are very familiar with each other. So that's probably, I think, a big reason why a deal got done. What else did you target outside of a big? Oh, definitely point of attack defender. We need wing defense. I would have loved a guard. I would have loved Bruce Brown, but he signed back with the Nuggets. Free agent wise, I mean, Melton has been talked about. I like him. A person I would trade for. The goal is Herb Jones. I don't think we can get him, especially if the Pelicans put him up. But like that's the goal. You want a guy that can slot in different defensive positions. You would have loved Cam Johnson. Yeah. But like it ended up being that's a good move for the Nuggets because like you move off of Porter Jr.'s contract and like he's a much Cam Johnson is just a much more like likable person in the locker room than a Porter Jr. Porter Jr. is a little bit more hostile. Cam Johnson's more like go with the flow type of dude. So he's just great. He's gonna do great for their team. Got another move as another center is getting picked up. Luke Garza is going to the Boston Celtics. So center market is really drying up, and Luke Garza is another guy off the board going to the Boston Celtics, essentially taking Luke Cornett's role over there. Could you see us going after Chris Paul? There was reports though that he does want to come back to playing like in Los Angeles, but I think it might end up with the Clippers or maybe even the Suns. One of those teams. I don't think the Lakers they don't have space for him. Like you have Luka as your main ball handler, you have Austin ball handling responsibilities, you also have LeBron James who's gonna have ball handling responsibilities. Chris Paul, like he has to handle the ball to be effective. Like he's not gonna be a guy that's gonna be an off-ball worker or do things off the ball or set screens. He's not that type of player, especially at this point of his career. So you would have to get him to be a backup point guard, and I don't think the Lakers would do that. And I don't know if CP would do that. Like the Clippers make more sense because the Clippers kind of need that another sort of point guard to go along with James Harden, another guy to go along with what they do. So I can totally see CP to the Clippers. But yeah, like I said just before, another center going off the market, and that's Luke Garza. He's going to the Boston Celtics. Apparently, it's between us and the Bucks for Aiton. That is interesting because yeah, the Bucks can give him a starting position. Same with the Lakers, but it's like, what is gonna for Aiden at least? Like, how are you gonna get buckets easier with the Bucks, who they're not gonna have Damian Lillard for maybe most of the season, or with the Lakers, who have essentially three guards that are gonna get him the ball? Yes, I'm counting LeBron in the situation as like a guy to get him the ball. Even though he's not a guard, he's gonna be starting right next to him. So the team wise might be better for him to go to LA than Milwaukee. But I obviously am being a little biased here. But Milwaukee, like they currently don't have a point guard. It's kind of like Kevin Porter Jr. who they sort of signed. So yeah, they don't have a really guy to set him up. And Giannis has been working as a de facto point guard for these past, or for the time that Lillard was out. Oh, I had over 1,000 of you in here. Let me keep this going for a little bit longer. Mostly because like I want to get some more information about Finney Smith, if it is a sign and trade, and to see if the Lakers kind of do something here. Because yes, you brought in LaRavia, all-purpose forward, but they need a big man. Teams around the West, left, right, and center, are adding big men, adding talent, adding size, adding strength, and the Lakers are just still here. The Jackson A's. I do have Christian Coloco though signed in. Oh, I knew it. The Hawks. I knew it. So another name off the board. With some Shams Charania within the second. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to the Atlanta Hawks for a 4-year, $64 million deal. There's no way the Lakers could have made close to that money for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker is gone. So this is another player that could have been for the Lakers, but I think with them signing with Reaves, I think they kind of knew that Nickeil Alexander-Walker was not going to. But yeah, the Hawks are making some noise. They got a nice little squad there, to be honest. Nice little defensive squad. Too, with Andy Nickeil Alexander-Walker, because they've got Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Reaves can play some defense. Jalen Johnson's pretty bouncy. Okongwu can do some things. Yeah, they can actually not only make the play, maybe even make the playoffs, because with the weekend East. So the Hawks, good move for them to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and also good for Nickeil Alexander-Walker to get paid. Dude played really well during the playoffs, and I just knew he was going to get paid. Yeah, the Hawks are making moves. They're trying to. They see that they can possibly make the playoffs, and then the Hawks. If you remember that one season where they went to Eastern Conference Finals and they weren't supposed to because they just had a pretty good team around Trae Young, and like where it got them. So they're probably thinking of the same way. Let's get a decent team around Trae Young, and then we can hopefully make some noise. And they're in a good spot, I think. Atlanta Hawks. So first day of free agency, if I had to be honest, it hasn't been great for the Lakers, mostly because all these big men going elsewhere and the Lakers not really finding a way to shore up that spot. You said, why didn't the Lakers get Capella? So first and foremost, I think that's a sign and trade that happened with Capella. We're still waiting to get more information about it too. And so that's a sign and trade, and it was for 3 years. So I don't think the Lakers were willing to give long-term money to some of these guys, and some of these centers who signed got multiple years, like 3, some 4, and some even 2-year deals. And I don't think the Lakers are willing to give the amount of years because they want to keep cap flexibility for next season, because all they really have on the books for next season is Vando's contract, I think Bronny's contract, which is like a team option, and Dalton Knecht. So your rookies from last year, Vando, and then obviously Luka Doncic, who's going to re-sign an extension in August, is likely to resign an extension in August. The Lakers are going to obviously give him the max and give him the most money that they can offer. And then it's up to Luka Doncic to negotiate and see if that's right for him. Yeah, that's my belief that the Lakers didn't go after Capella because they weren't willing to give him the years. Sorry guys, if you got any questions, just let me know. Been looking left, right, and center with my phone. Stream for about an hour and 23 minutes. I mean, in total, it's like 50 minutes. So I've been on since 3. But the Lakers here, they are really kind of striking out of these early parts here, the early parts of free agency. They can obviously still make moves. It's not the end of the world. They can still make moves, still get better. But teams around them, especially in the Western Conference, are getting a lot better. Really like what the Hawks did. That's a nice move for the Hawks, getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Very good. Lakers, however, they gotta make some moves here. Guys getting picked up very quickly. probably be on for maybe about like 15 or so minutes. But yeah, there has been a lot of action today from teams all over the Western Conference. There's been a lot of different things that the Rockets have done to improve themselves. Teams like the Clippers, they made a deal to bring in Brook Lopez. Seen the Pelicans make a deal. Grizzlies have shored up their team. A lot of these teams in the West have been doing what they need to do to make their team better. Oh, Ty Jerome heading to the Grizzlies. So that can also mean that a Cole Anthony becomes available, which he's a nice little scoring guard, but I don't think he's on the Lakers' radar. Unless if they were to get rid of Gabe Vincent in a trade. I'm surprised though that the Rockets gave all that money to Clint Capella, because Clint Capella essentially is going to be their third string center. And yes, Clint Capella is going to be in a very great spot to contend for a championship. But like, they've got Şengün, they've got Steven Adams, they've got now Capella, and I do believe they have Jack Landale on the roster too. So this is another center guy on the roster. So they have 4 centers on the roster. They got to make a deal here to free that up. Also, thanks for you guys for commenting, being in here with me, from Kato to Brandon to Chung, Dylan, Mr. 81, Rod, and Adam. I have a few names here that's been in here. Okay, let's see. Got any new information on Bobby Marks? It could be a sign and trade for the Nickeil Alexander-Walker move, which makes sense. It'll just give Minnesota a trade exception, which they would probably love down the line. Trade exceptions are very important to have, especially when your team that is not going to have cap space, because the T-Wolves are going to be a team like that. They're not going to have too much cap space with them signing Julius Randle, them signing Naz Reid, them having Gobert and Anthony Edwards under contract. So all those guys under contract. That's why you also see Nickeil Alexander-Walker walking to Atlanta. Yeah, Brandon, you're right. It's most likely looking like DeAndre Ayton, and I don't love it, but it's the best the Lakers can do in the free agency market, especially with all of those centers gone, and I mean all of them, with the exception of maybe Al Horford, maybe Jericho Sims, maybe Bismack Biyombo. Like, these are not even guys that are, you know. Miami Heat idol. I don't know what that means. Could you elaborate? Sorry, I don't mind me, guys. I'm just looking to see if anything new is coming down the pipeline. Which there has been a lot of news today. A lot of news, which usually happens on the first day of free agency, but it's just the Lakers have just had signed LaRavia, which seems like a replacement for Finney Smith in some regards. A younger guy, 24 years old, 6'8", multi-purpose forward. We'll see what he can bring. I don't know too much about his game because I haven't seen too much about it, but it is. Okay. So the Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a sign and trade. Atlanta's sending a 2027 second round pick to Cleveland and cash for Nickeil Alexander-Walker for the 4 years, $62 million, which Kuminga, Miami Heat, from Golden State. That's who you're talking about. Oh yes, I can see him ending up in Miami. Definitely for sure. Because he's looking for a place to kind of be a star, and Miami is kind of void of a star. Yeah, they got Hero. Yeah, they got Bam, but those are two complementary pieces. They're not like main dudes. Good players, but not main guys. Yeah, like I say, I don't think anything will be like super official, but like what might be possibly looking out for, because I'm not going to be on too much longer here. But what to be looking for if you're the Lakers is, or if you're a Laker fan, is if there's a contract being agreed upon, which is still likely for guys who go on to waivers, and then even before they cleared waivers, because they know they're going to clear waivers, they'll like announce that they're signing to said team. Because in a weird way, that's the same situation that happened with Alex Len, because he got bought out, was going to the Pacers, and then while he was on waivers, kind of pivoted to the Lakers. So you said you just trade LeBron now. I don't think LeBron is being traded, and if he were to be traded, it just there's so much that would have to go into it. Where is Team LeBron? What do you mean, Christian? I want you to elaborate on that. But as I talk about LeBron, but LeBron, I think that was mostly just smoke from what Rich Paul said. I think people always overreact to whatever Rich Paul says. This was more of an indication of just like, hey, this could be nearing the end for LeBron James, because I don't think LeBron knows if this season is his last season, but by next season he'll know if that was his last season that he just played, the 2026 season, or the following season where he can possibly play with Bryce James, which I think might be his last goal, to play with both of his sons, because that is something that nobody has ever done and probably will do in NBA history. So yes, and then this is also from McMiniman and ESPN. He was talking about how there hasn't been any conversations about LeBron James being traded to any team, so that it's not even being a conversation. This is just something that has been talked throughout, um, talked about throughout, just like Laker fan circles. Even with Aiden, the Lakers are gonna be lucky to be a playing team. Lucky the NFL's around the corner. I don't think so. They were a 3 seed for a reason last season. They got a lot of good play from Reaves. Hachimura had a great season. Hayes was pretty good in the regular season. Anytime he, I think, scored over like 15 points, Lakers had a really good record. Luka Doncic is going to be in better shape. Yes, LeBron is going to be older, but he still can do a lot of different things on the court. I think they'll be a middling team. I don't think they'll be a playing team. Another deal just happened. Tyus Jones is going to Orlando Magic for a 1 year, $7 million deal, which okay, good on him. Kind of gives him a serviceable point guard. And they kind of need that. They did lose Cole Anthony in that Desmond Bane trade. A 3 seed is much different in the West. No, I agree. It does look different. Obviously, with the Rockets, OKC's gonna be there. Denver, I think, did some things that helped their team, getting Cam Johnson and getting Bruce Brown back. Uh the Clippers, I did like them bringing in Brook Lopez as a backup center, and their team's still solid. What's another team that I kind of like in the West? Oh, the Mavericks. D'Lo's a serviceable starting point guard, and then also you're gonna just wait till Kyrie gets back, and then you got Cooper Flag. The excitement there. The San Antonio Spurs, definitely a team to watch out for, especially if they make a trade. Like if Giannis says I want to go like leave Milwaukee, I'm looking at San Antonio, and San Antonio is like the scariest team alive if they get Giannis. Yeah, you would be surprised though. I don't want to like it's way too early to like call the team like a plane as well. It's going to be competitive, but you never know who's going to be healthy when the regular season hits. You never know say if another trade happens. Um honest and being, it sounds like you sound a little Debbie Downer-ish. Like, yes, the rest of the West is good, but like you're forgetting that Luka is one of the better players in the league. Austin, it keeps improving every season. Yes, LeBron is old, but he still does a lot of good things for you. Hachimura had a great season last year. Lakers still have good players on the roster. It's just teams are getting better. So like they can, and the Lakers can still get better themselves. They can still make a trade. It's only the first day of free agency. Brandon, do you like a do Thero? Yes, I do. Yeah. Looking at his, oh my god, his highlight tape is ridiculous, man. That guy, the Lakers have not had an athlete like this since. It's been a while since they've had like a pure athlete. Like honestly, I'd say since LeBron's first year, they've had an athlete since this on the team. Because this guy has an amazing recovery speed, has the makings to be like a top-notch defender, and he's something like really cool. So he's like, I try to pattern a game like defensive game like Holiday and OG Anunoby, and those are two guys you want to pattern your game after defensively. Offense still needs a ways away, but he's a very good downhill driver, and he's a guy that will dunk on you, like really freaking dunk on you if you give him a chance. So that's what I like about him. His mentality is great. So the shooting is going to take some time, for sure. But once it does, man, holy smokes, he's going to be a threat. But he's still a bit of a project. He might spend a lot of his first year in the G League. Also, this with all these signings with these free agents here, it's looking very unlikely the Lakers will get like two bigs. I know we've talked about the Lakers possibly going after two bigs and having two bigs. It's not likely. This seems like a very one big scenario. Younger Andrew Wiggins, that's no. Andrew Wiggins like was way more polished in his game offensively, and he's a guy that Andrew Wiggins at least had like some scoring chops. Cause like Thiru, like he averaged 15 points in college, but that was basically off of downhill drives. Like he was a horrific catch and shoot shooter. He shot I think at 20, either it was like 21 or 22% from catch and shoot threes. Dylan says if Lakers can mold to play like Golden State, maybe, but how is that the question? Small? Oh, you mean small ball? I don't think they can do it less so because losing Finney Smith really hurts, and he helps you play like small ball. So I don't think the Lakers should be taking up that mold that the Warriors are because like they don't necessarily have a Draymond, and the reason why the Warriors are able to do that is because they have a Draymond Green that can like be like a 5-man, can be a guy that's like a rim deterrent, that can be a guy that's always in the right spots, can just do so many things for you defensively, and the Lakers don't have that type of player. So like I don't think you can like look to them to be like another Golden State Warriors team. All right, y'all. I think I'm stay on here for a few more minutes here. Because it looks like we're getting most of the gist today. And then the big thing I do want to leave you guys here is the Ayton stuff. Be on the lookout for Ayton, especially if once he clears waivers, because he is the last big name out there for the Lakers. And he is now the most viable option for the Lakers now with Clint Capella in Houston, Brook Lopez with the Clippers, and you got Cornette with the Spurs, Kevin Looney with the Pelicans, Luka Garza with the Celtics. So all of these centers, one way or another, the Lakers were looking at, are all kind of going elsewhere. And the other two guys, besides Ayton on the free agent list that I kind of like is Al Horford, who is very old, 39 years old, same boat as LeBron. So you don't even know how many years he's going to play left. And then also you've got Jericho Sims, very bouncy big, can really get up there athletically, but he is still lacking, I think, in some areas. especially when it comes to just more of seeing the game, reading the game, because he's a very athletic dude, but he's not a guy that's blocking a ton of shots. Like, you're right. Rob does need to make some moves, with the exception of the Laravia move, because that's the only move that he's made. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, oh. Peace, 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 love, and happiness. Random thought though, but have you guys seen F1? Recently saw that movie, and I really did enjoy it. Cool movie, and I'm not a guy who's like into F1, but it was, yeah, that movie was pretty dope. Like, it made me like want to be like race a fast car. So Tyus Jones going to the Orlando Magic. That guy just seems to be bouncing from team to team every year. And I remember there was a point in time the Lakers were interested in Tyus Jones. Do I like football? I'm more of a casual fan. Mostly because I grew up in like the LA area, so I didn't have a team per se growing up, but I for some reason I ended up liking the Arizona Cardinals. It's like a longer story. I ended up like meeting Larry Fitzgerald one time, and he's like a really genuine, like, nice dude, very genuine nice dude, and he just like made me like the Cardinals because, like, man, this guy's like a really super cool dude. So that's why I like became like a Cardinals fan. But like I'm more of a casual fan. Like, I'll watch it every now and again, but I don't like I'm more of a basketball or like even a baseball guy. I'd watch a lot more baseball. Really love baseball. Looks like Laravia is excited, so he just posted something on his Instagram story. He said, "Hope Laker fans are excited as I am. Let's get to work." He said Lake Show with some hearts on there. So Laravia is excited to be a part of the Lakers. Hopefully he can bring something worthwhile to the Lakers. Like I said, I ain't too mad about the signing. It's not the worst thing in the world. We'll see what he brings. Multi-purpose forward who can do a couple of different things for you. He is on the young side, so he still can be improving as a player and getting better, but we'll see what it shapes out to. But he seems like he projects as a bench guy right now. He hasn't played more than 20 minutes per game for his career. So I don't see him garnering too much minutes unless he were able to play his way into it. Which is still possible, especially if the Lakers don't find a center. My goodness. You're a Chicago Bears fan? I don't know much about football, but I do know that they're terrible. I do remember, though, a point in time, though, what was his name? Jay Cutler. Oh my god. That guy was one weird quarterback. Do a bunch of interceptions, but he can definitely truck you for sure. That's the little I know about football. I won't be like waxing poetically about football, that's for sure. What center should they get? It's only looking like one name right now. It's looking like DeAndre Ayton. He clears waivers on Wednesday, so we might not see anything until that point in time. But all the other centers that the Lakers were rumored to be interested in have all gone. Ooh, Blake, you're a Green Bay Packers fan. Oh, you've seen some good times. Yeah, put it in the chat, guys. What football team what's your favorite football team? Because I'm interested. Because I ended up being a Cardinals fan, an Arizona Cardinals fan, which is weird. What center? Yeah, I said DeAndre Ayton. Another name, couple other names maybe to look out for is Larry Nance Jr. as a mid option. Al Horford, but he's super old, and Jericho Sims. Chicago Bears have a bright future with Ben Johnson. Okay, good for the Chicago Bears. Looking up because at a point in time in my life, they were not good, like whatsoever. Rich Paul informed ESPN both Rob Pelinka and Laura Beth Steger, Luka Doncic's biggest matter about LeBron's intent to pick up his option. Nobody was blindsided, so this was not a not shocking thing to them. A EuroLeague champion has just signed with the Suns. What is his name? Furbont's Nigel Hayes Davis. Finals MVP for the Turkish Cup, and he won the MVP. Got a fully guaranteed 1-year contract. Okay. Don't know who this is, but another guy signing with the Suns. For the cheap. Suns also made some pretty good moves. I really like how they've gotten younger around KD. Rob Pelinka can't wait until Wednesday to make moves. Well, he has to for DeAndre Ayton because DeAndre Ayton was put on waivers, so he was, so he has to go through essentially the waiver wire. So he'll go through every team having a chance to pick him up off of waivers for his $35 million. I don't think a team will do that because nobody wants Ayton at $35 million. So he will be bought out, and he's bought for $25 million. So he could be looking for around 10-ish million. The Lakers don't have 10-ish million to offer. They have about $8.2 million to offer DeAndre Ayton. So that is looking like the likely moves. And like he can't clear waivers till Monday or till Wednesday. So that's why it has to wait until Wednesday. As far as like other guys, they can still use their biannual exception. It's about $5.1 million. And they can use it to sign another player. We'll see which route they go there with that biannual exception. They've lost out on a couple guys, which I kind of liked. Dennis Schroeder, he's getting the full taxpayer middle exception, looks like it, with the Sacramento Kings. And then also they lost out on Bruce Brown, who's going back to the Denver Nuggets. There's a couple other names out there. Davion Mitchell signed back with the Heat, which I liked. Trey Mann, he's more of a scoring guard, and he'll more likely be like a Gabe Vincent replacement. So if you were to trade Gabe Vincent for another person and then bring in Trey Mann, I think that's the viable get. Jordan Clarkson, also another guy who just hopped off of waivers, could be another option. But again, more of the scoring guard variety, not really the defensive guard. There's not a ton of those out there, defensive, like point of attack guards. I mean, I'll take a look here of like who are the guards out there. But yeah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker just signed. Brandon Boston is more of a offensive minded. Malcolm Brogdon, he's a name, and he's been a name linked to the Lakers in the past. Definitely could be a name that I could see for the biannual exception. And he's a solid guy, but he's just, health has been an issue for him. Alec Burks, more of a scoring guard over there. Jared Butler, he played a couple of good games for the 76ers, but again, offensive-minded. Same thing with Amir Coffey, more offensive-minded. Seth Curry, same type of deal. Spencer Dinwiddie, but I don't think the Lakers will go down that road again. Dante Exum, I can see another name. So you got Dante Exum, you got Malcolm Brogdon. So those are two names that the Lakers could possibly go for the biannual mid-level exception. Gary Harris, he's also been a name in the past that the Lakers have been linked to, but he is a bit older and a bit aging. Caleb Houston guy is a shooter. It's weird. He's 6'8", but he's not much of a finisher, so he's more of just a shooter. Yeah, this is really kind of it. So the two names that I like the most is Dante Exum and Malcolm Brogdon. Really left there on the point of attack defender, like guard type of build. I mean, I guess you do have Quentin Grimes, but he's a restricted free agent, so he's going to cost a lot of money. Rob needs to make some trades now. He can say I can still definitely make some trades. I can see Rob Pelinka making a trade or two. What other big can the Lakers get? Besides, it's Slim Pickens in the free agency market. It's Ayton or bust at this point, because the other two guys that I see as maybe viable is maybe Al Horford in spurts, but he's old. Jericho Sims, and then Larry Nance Jr. Those are maybe the other guys. Free agency wise, trade wise, they can still, obviously there's more options. They can still go maybe Claxton, Pirtle, Robert Williams, just maybe one of those routes. Aiden's probably going to be the biggest. Yeah. Aiden seems very likely. What do you think about Seth Curry? Seth Curry, no. Seth Curry is a very good shooter. Can do a lot of good things offensively, but like he is a porous defender. Porous, to say the least. Looks like Devin Booker's about to get an extension. It said campaign. Campaign is like on the list of players that I don't like a ton. Mostly, it's kind of his temperament, his mentality. It's kind of had this front runner-ness about him. I don't think that's a word, but he's been a guy that I've just never really liked. Maybe it's his shot, the way it looks. Yeah, he brings some good energy from time to time, but I don't think he's a super viable guy. Like Gabe Vincent, to me, you can probably get more out of him than you can get out of campaign for your team, I think. So yeah, names I would look for is Malcolm Brogdon and Dante Exum, for sure. For other names the Lakers could possibly target or get, with the biannual mid-level exception. So that's $5.1 million a season, which is, I'm totally fine with paying Brogdon that. Maybe Exum, you can go lower with the vet minimum. But if you want him on for sure in your roster, then you go with the biannual exception at the $5.1 million. All right, y'all. I think things are starting to slow down here. And it is fairly obvious that the Lakers are going to be in a bit of a pinch. But we will be bringing you those updates as they come, especially what happens with DeAndre Ayton, or say be on the lookout for. And also names to watch out for: Dante Exum, Malcolm Brogdon. Just a couple of names of that nature. Those are the names to look out for Los Angeles Lakers. We'll keep it right here, giving you all those updates here on Lakers Digest. But thanks again for all of you guys who have joined here for the lives. This has been Lakers Digest. And just one more thing for us, guys. There is still 67% of you guys who have recently watched our videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker updates, Laker trade rumors, just every and all things Lakers basketball, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest so you don't miss any of that action. All right, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one.